Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the broadcast today, running for governor, Joey Gilbert, the attorney, here for the whole show on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers. I'm here at the Carson Valley Inn in Minden with Joey Whitaker. One of the things I love about the Carson Valley Inn here in beautiful downtown Minden is CV steak. I have eaten here so many times. Tell folks what they can expect when they come here to eat.
It's a beautiful room, great service. We have certified Angus beef, seafood, lamb, a great range of appetizers, and wonderful desserts. Jean-Michel's done a great job of selecting some beautiful wines for us. The customers love it, and we've got a great selection of cocktails as well. It's not a long way to get away to the Carson Valley Inn.
Retail's impact on Nevada's economy? Enormous. 8,600 businesses, large and small, employing 145,000 workers. And last fiscal year, retail paid tax on nearly $60 billion in sales. We're the Retail Association of Nevada. We support retail, we help it grow, and we mean business.
RANNV.org.
Pro Group Management specializes in providing industries with the necessary components to satisfy and exceed workers' comp requirements. Every business has unique needs and specific regulations. Pro Group Management stays ahead of the curve, providing up-to-date services to keep your industry in top form. Discover how we simplify your tasks, improve efficiency, and reduce expense to keep you moving in a positive direction. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
Truck drivers are some of the hardest working people you'll meet, delivering over 70% of America's freight and 92% of Nevada's. When there's a natural disaster, they're delivering critical supplies to help those communities recover and rebuild. Every sector of the economy and our nation's military rely on truck drivers. So let's take a moment to say thank you. On the open road or city streets, our truck drivers are rolling to make our economy and our nation stronger. Trucking moves America forward.
Nevada Newsmakers Studio is located at the headquarters of the Nevada Trucking Association. Motion and purpose are a truck's greatest virtue.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue to look at candidates on the Republican side for governor of the great state of Nevada. And today we welcome attorney Joey Gilbert. It is a pleasure to have you on the program, sir.
Pleasure to be here, Sam. Thanks. It's been a while.
It has been, but we're glad to have you. As I've done with other candidates that are not really that well-known statewide, even though you've been getting good crowds, I understand in one crowd in Las Vegas you got up to 1,800 people showing up.
We actually had 5,000 people on the strip.
5,000, okay.
5,000 on the strip. We'll probably do more, close to 10,000 next time we do another rally on the strip. So,
okay, so
they're definitely underestimating and underselling what we're doing down there.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Explain to people who you are, because you know, from the time I've known you, were a champion boxer, then you got your law degree, you got Best of Reno for doing your work on behalf of your clients, and so tell people who you are and why you're running for governor.
Well, I'm Joey Gilbert. I'm a lawyer here in Nevada, but first and foremost, I'm a father. I have an 11-year-old daughter who's my entire world. She's my #1 priority. And we homeschool, and so, as I told you, I was running a little late this morning, so we had some things to get done. But I'm, went to the University of Nevada. I was a 3-time national champ, 4-time All-American. Then I won the Golden Gloves in 2000, turned professional. Because of Mills Lane, I decided to go into the Air National Guard. Didn't end up going to Boyd, so I ended up going to Thomas Jefferson School of Law. After law school, I went to Vegas for about 5 years. I spent time just cutting my teeth down there, doing different types of contract work. And my boxing career took off. I finished, 21-3 with 17 knockouts. I won a couple of the regional world title belts. So I was, had the WBO, NABO belt and the WBC belt, and those are important to me because not everyone gets ranked in the top 10 of a sanctioning body, let alone 2. So that was cool. And then I finished fighting. My daughter was born in 2010, and I ended the boxing career shortly thereafter. Once she came into the picture, I felt like I needed to put my focus on her. And since then, I've been in Nevada, up here in northern Nevada. I spent, like I said, about 5 years in Vegas from 2003 till 2008. Then I opened a law practice down there 2013 through 16. And it just got, Vegas is interesting. You got to be there and be full time. It wasn't something I could juggle between the two. So then I came back up here 100%, and I've been doing law here, and we have a full services firm. We do immigration law, family law, criminal law, personal injury law, and a lot of like administrative, and I call it special use law. I did a lot of stuff with cannabis. And so ever since then, I've been focused on being a lawyer and an entrepreneur, and done really well at that. As you just mentioned, been top 40 under 40 as a lawyer, and then best of the Reno a few times, and really put the focus on customer service at our law firm and just take care of folks. And now after what I would call the insanity of this last 18 months, the decisions I think that have been made to get us through this this situation, I'll just say, I made a decision that someone needed to step up that was going to be a fighter and a leader, and going to make the decisions that I think were in the best interest of the people and not in the best interest of cronies and money and other things like that.
Okay, so you've been very fiery in your campaign. For those that are not on Facebook, you've got a great presence on Facebook and Twitter and social media in general. And I will put it mildly, you are very fiery. Mm-hmm. So first of all, what puts it in you that you think that you have the skills to be governor? Because to be governor, you really have to work with people. You can't just be a solo act. And so, but that doesn't seem to be in your campaign style at this point.
Well, I think, campaigning is one thing. Right now I'm fighting for the people, but make no mistake, I mean, look at my businesses. Success in business is creating a culture, creating, the energy and the passion. And I have no problem with that. You can speak to anybody in any place I've worked or any business I've been involved with. Everything's been best of whatever, whether it was best of Reno in cannabis or best of Reno in law or best of Reno in whatever we've done. I think that's something that transcends. You bring in that excitement and that energy and that passion, and that's what you do. And I think governor will be no different. I'm going to build a great team. I'm going to reach out. There's plenty of good folks in there. I think in our state government. And then I think that if we replace some of the political points and the talking heads in there, and we get in some professionals that are really going to do what's best for Nevadans and for the people, people will really be happy with they'll get their money's worth, to put it lightly. So again, I think I'm definitely this sounds like out of left field, but I believe I'm absolutely the most qualified and the most prepared to lead from day one. I've done the work. I've put in almost 18 months now of getting around to the rural counties. I know what everybody needs. I know what our problems are in the state. And again, I think that we're suffering from a pandemic of failed leadership and not having the right teams and the right people in place to make the decisions and do what's best, follow the science, and do what's best for the people of Nevada. Okay,
let's talk about your style of campaigning. There was an interesting article I read a few months ago that talked about Donald Trump's campaign as being based on his experience with the WWE, and where you get up into the ring, you slam your opponent both verbally as well as physically, and you engage the crowd, and it's an entertainment thing. You seem to have a very similar style in terms of that. Is what you're doing on the campaign trail part entertainment as well as it is part campaigning for governor?
No, I believe that's just my passion, my tenacity. At the end of the day, I'm not Donald Trump.
But wouldn't you agree, though, that no, I'm not saying you're Donald Trump. I'm just saying style in terms of getting out there. But, isn't that what you're doing, is riling up the crowd?
I kind of see myself as like a Ron DeSantis. I'm calling it like I see it. Right now, everyone's afraid to talk the truth. The truth is the truth. As inconvenient as it might be, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but they're not entitled to their own facts. And I'm calling out the facts, and I'm calling out the science. And yeah, it is right now the media, the elected officials, the governor and his entire, what I would call, posse of I think, very incompetent people have their own opinion of stuff, and that's their opinion. But the facts are quite clear. And if you look across this nation, we have the highest unemployment in the nation. We had the highest per capita suicides. And people got crushed here. And so the people need a fighter. They need someone to stand up and call it like it is, and that's what I'm doing. I'm not doing it to entertain. I'm doing it to call attention to the facts and to the vast differences between me and the current resident down in Carson City.
Okay, so some of the emails I've gotten have said, we kind of like Joey Gilbert's style, but we're kind of concerned about how coarse he is, because verbally, I mean, you're being mild in your comments here, even though you're attacking people. You're being very mild in the way you're running your comments. But on the campaign trail or on social media, you're not being mild at all. Is that intentional? That you know, because I mean, you're saying you've got a young daughter, and are you comfortable with your young daughter hearing you speak the way you do when you're on the campaign trail?
That when I call the governor corrupt, absolutely.
Well, it's way more than just corrupt. I mean, your language is some might call that offensive.
I've called him a clown show. I think what's happening down in Carson City is a clown show. Now, when it's time to be more professional, first of all, I'm an attorney. I'm a trial attorney. When I'm in the courtroom, I don't speak like that. You know, as the people say, when it's time to be gubernatorial, we're going to be gubernatorial. When it's time to call it like it is and fire up a crowd, we're going to fire up a crowd. But at the same time, I know how to be a professional. I know how to be respectful, and I'm going to do that. But you know, there's like I said, there's a time and place for everything. Right now, there's a time and place to talk, you know, very succinctly and talk about the issues that are important to me and I think important to Nevadans. And again, I'm the only one that's gotten around to the rural counties like I have that truly feels like I speak on behalf of the people, and they are not happy. You know, north of Nye County, you know, even Reno, you know, people need someone to speak for them. A lot of people feel the way I feel. I would probably say much more than anyone thinks. People feel and would like to have someone saying what I'm saying. They just can't say it. Whether it's their boss, their wife, you know, where they work, they're not going to say it. But every day I have hundreds of emails and messages saying, thank you for what you're doing. Don't stop being you. Don't change a thing. And one of the things I've been doing is pulling the women. Because as you know, President Trump had a problem, they said, with suburban moms. But these have been, the ladies have been the ones at the county commissions with me, at the school boards with me, at the health boards with me. And I'll often say, do you guys have an issue? Should I stop saying clown? Should I stop saying corrupt? Should I stop saying things like this? You know, and I've even said the word scumbag. I don't use it very often. But when you take children, for example, and you force them into masks, despite the science being completely opposite of it providing any benefit, when you distance learning the children and you do things that I think are unnecessary, you earn those titles. And I'll tell you right now, it's the moms, I call them the mama bears, who have been behind me from day one and are not going anywhere. And they're not just Republicans, Sam. They are independents, nonpartisans, and even Democrats that have had enough of what's happened here, and they're the ones saying, stay on message, we like what you're doing.
Okay, so, and that brings up an interesting point, because to me, and again, I'm not trying to tie you to Donald Trump, I'm just you know, giving you analogies here. But I think that one of the reasons that Donald Trump was elected president was that there are people in this country, both Democrats and Republicans, who feel that they've been lied to over the years by politicians. Yeah. And that no matter what they were promised, that it was never delivered. And so they chose somebody that they saw as an image from The Apprentice and from his years on being on television, and said, this is the person we want to have because he's going to represent us. Do you feel that kind of kinship towards that philosophy?
Sam, that's the only reason I'm here. Let me tell you something. If you ever would have told me I was going to run for political office, especially after the way I felt after the election in 2020, and the nonsense that went on there. I mean, again, when the legislature, when you change rules, major rules 90 days before an election, and then you have the mess that happened down in Clark County. Again, an affidavit signed by Joe Gloria that 140-something thousand votes couldn't be, you know, verified, and that we're going to have to revote. And then all of a sudden, abracadabra, everything's okay. Ross Miller wins by 10 votes. We have an issue. And so, yeah, I'm here because the people have been lied to. As Donald Trump used to say, the forgotten man and woman of this state, especially. And when you talk to the rural counties, you know, you go to Elko, you go to White Pine County, you go to Humboldt County, Lander County, those folks up there feel like they've been abandoned, that, you know, that they've got someone quarterbacking, you know, their lifestyle and their lives up there that doesn't even know who they are, and they want nothing to do with it. And so they were starting to get disenfranchised. And I'll tell you right now, they finally have hope, again, that someone's going to go and fight for them. And that's what but I'm here to represent the entire state, all Nevadans.
Okay, let me ask you this. So the results of the election, the Secretary of State, who is a Republican and a solid Republican, says minimal amount of fraud. And you disagree with that?
Yeah, absolutely, completely disagree.
But the problem has been that the proof has not been shown.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's They're going to say that, we've been canvassing. I'm driving by dirt lots where there's 300 votes from. It's a dirt lot, Sam. Okay? I don't know what else to tell you. You look, it's there. If you don't want to look, it's not there. When you're pulling out ballots from under tables, when you're covering, windows with pizza boxes, when you're not letting people, I got whistleblower calls from Las Vegas, and these ladies told me they were the head of the verification team, and they said for the first time in 6 presidential cycles, they were physically prevented from going into the adjudication room. They also said that they watched a young lady go in there and raise the Aegis machine, the signature verification machine, with an Allen wrench up enough so that the ballots were flying through and they were going to the adjudication room where they weren't allowed in there. So again, the Secretary of State can have her story. I've got my facts. I've spoken to thousands of Nevadans that feel completely otherwise, and I think this entire deal was a mess. And I think we need to fix it, because if we don't, we'll never have honest elections in this state again.
Okay, why do you think more lawsuits have not been brought that have been successful?
I will say that there's a lot of reasons. I don't really know what. I think there's a lot of politics involved. I do. I believe there's politics. I think the courts are political. I think that information wasn't looked at, and I also think that there's time frames. Trying to get stuff done within the time frames that they did. I was not happy at all with some of the legal work that was done on the president's behalf. Going in, I know those guys worked very hard, but it just didn't seem like things were done the way they needed to be done. I know Jesse Law did a good job, but I'm not quite sure how I feel about the rest of the stuff being done. I would have done things differently, that's for sure. And I think that we still have some stuff that's going to be done. I think you're going to be surprised what you see in the next few months about getting these voter rolls cleaned up, about going after these. I mean, why do we have permanent mail-in ballots?
Okay, so you believe that there are going to be more lawsuits?
I believe so.
And that they will end up, where, at the Supreme Court?
I hope so.
Okay, let's take a break. We'll come back.
Sure.
A lot more. And by the way, you're welcome to come back more. So
Yeah.
This is the first of a series, I'm sure. We'll be right back.
Calamity. It lurks around every corner. Or not. That's why UMC Quick Care is around every corner, with locations around the valley. UMC Quick Care, for all your small calamities.
Hey guys, are you watching the game at a friend's or the bar again because you can't watch at home with your wife? Or worse, because she kicked you out and kept your couch, your flat screen, and your kids? What's the one thing a man needs when he loses a good woman? A good lawyer. And when he loses a bad woman, he needs a great lawyer. What makes a good woman a bad woman? You tell me. You're the one that can't watch the game in your own home. I'm men's rights attorney Marilyn York, and I represent men in divorce, custody, and family law matters.
Calamity. It lurks around every corner. Or not. That's why UMC Quick Care is around every corner, with locations around the valley. UMC Quick Care, for all your small calamities.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with attorney Joey Gilbert. He is running for governor of the state of Nevada. Let's talk about the gaming industry. Most people who are going to be successful at running for governor need the support of the gaming industry. Do you have support from the gaming industry?
I do. I mean, I listen, all these casinos they always support, everybody, to what extent, the Carano family has always been kind to me and are going to support me. Again, I think a lot of people are seeing what happens with the primary, but I am getting support, and I know I will have the support when I win the primary.
How much money do you think you're going to have to raise to win the primary?
About $1 million. We're halfway there. We're getting there. I mean, we have a lot of good folks coming in. The last, about 30 days has been pretty incredible. I think, I've gotten phone calls from some of the same people you talk to, some of the bigger guys saying, hey, kid, you're making some waves. We see what you're doing down in Vegas. People had thought Clark County's out of the picture. Well, they didn't realize I lived in Clark County for 5 years. They didn't realize I opened a business there for 5 years. And people forget that half the people that go to Nevada, University of Nevada, come from Vegas and go back home. So I've got a huge network down there, probably as many friends, if not more, on the business side down in Vegas as I do up here. So, it's just taking some time to connect. And, I was a little slow to get things going. Although I made some announcements or things leaked early on, I really didn't start putting this together till September. And now I'm just starting again. There's a lot I've had to learn. The learning curve for me has been a little bigger, but I've got some great people. I spent yesterday, some time with Mark Meadows President Trump's former chief of staff. And it's funny you bring up, what makes you qualified. Here's a guy that went from where he went to becoming the president's chief of staff, and he said, you just jump in, and if you're good, and you're a good communicator, and you're not afraid to make decisions, and again, look what he did. I think he did a fantastic job. So I look at it the same way. This is a new area for me, but I've always excelled in new things I've done, no matter what it is. I joined the boxing team at 19 years old. I opened a law firm with no experience.
So let me ask you a question. You said earlier that you're against masks for kids.
Sure.
Did you get vaccinated?
I did not.
Okay, and the reason?
I had COVID and recovered naturally.
Okay, but if you hadn't have had that, would you have likely had the vaccine?
Probably not. Again, it's something that for me, as healthy as I am, 99.9% chance for survivability without treatment. There's plenty of treatment available out there. And so, again, it's part of the myth that's been hidden. It's just not something I would have been worried about, just like there's a lot of things I wouldn't go do unless there was a real danger for it. And again, right now, it's funny that you bring that up because the studies, and these are our own CDC studies, by the way, everything I'm saying can be found on the CDC. Those that are vaccinated carry 251 times, that's 251 times the viral load of the virus than those that are not vaccinated. So actually, people that are getting vaccinated are more likely to spread this virus than those that aren't. And again, that's our own CDC. You can look at the Stanford Public Health that just came out in September. So for those reasons, and the fact that, again, I serve as Director of Strategy for America's Frontline Doctors. I'm actually in a situation where I probably have more information than the average bear. But just anybody that does their own research would learn very quickly that it's not necessary. And right now, per the CDC, that Dr. Walensky, she came out and said that the vaccine is not preventing infection and transmission at all. So it's no longer a public safety issue. It's more a personal choice. If you want to do it because it could lessen your symptoms, great. But in terms of it providing protection to the public, that's not there, and that's off our own CDC. And every doctor that's employed by our government has spoken about that.
And we'll be right back.
7 at 7 is available anytime, anywhere.
I'm Riley Smith with your Vegas Golden Knights. Watch 7 minutes of nonstop news from the Las Vegas Review-Journal.
Streaming on LVRJ.com and Twitter. Powered by the Las Vegas Review-Journal.
Modern boutique Ahern Hotel and Events Center in Las Vegas. Host meetings and events on 2 floors. Stay in luxurious rooms and suites. Unlimited branding opportunities. Regional Italian cuisine by Chef Mark Segrisi. Flexible event spaces. Full buyout options. Visit ahernhotel.com today.
I'm Jeff Gehrman, an investigative reporter with the Las Vegas Review-Journal. I'm your guide for Season 2 of Mobbed Up, The Fight for Las Vegas.
You're in with every gangster and hoodlum in the United States. I don't go for that, Mr. Kennedy. I don't go for that kind of action.
I was on television accused of fronting for the mob.
Subscribe to Mobbed Up, The Fight for Las Vegas, Season 2, today on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Before the masks, before the distancing, before the world changed, UMC was ready. Our response to COVID-19 began before the crisis did, with our own team of infectious disease experts who've spent their careers planning for this moment. With a pandemic response plan, we'd practiced again and again, and by blazing new trails in large-scale testing, including every patient we admit. Always ready. UMC.
7 at 7 is available anytime, anywhere.
I'm Riley Smith with your Vegas Golden Knights. Watch 7 minutes of nonstop news from the Las Vegas Review-Journal.
Streaming on LVRJ.com and YouTube. Powered by the Las Vegas Review-Journal.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Joy Gilbert, the attorney running for governor of the great state of Nevada. You know that the vaccination program was started under President Trump.
I do know that.
And they were getting the vaccine out as fast as they could and ramping it up. Continued on by President Biden. Literally, now billions of people around the world have gotten this vaccine. Does it not rate with you that this is helping to slow the spread of this?
It's not helping it. Actually, Sam, I'm sorry to have to correct
no,
you.
No, that's fine. You're here to say what you want to say.
It's not. It's actually, if you look at Dr. Malone, who invented the mRNA technology, if you listen to Peter McCullough, every public health official outside of our government is saying the only way to stop this pandemic is to stop vaccinating immediately. And here's why. What happened was when President Trump put forth this vaccine, it was for a different variant. Now we have this Delta variant, which again, per our own CDC, is not being stopped by the current vaccine. Now they would have to create a new vaccine. They'd have to go back to the drawing board. They don't want to do that, so they're trying to do the boosters. Boosters aren't working either. Again, this is all scientific data that's easily searchable for anybody.
Okay, and I'm going to say, because I'm not a doctor and you're not a doctor, that people should verify information for themselves.
Absolutely.
And go
100%.
to the sources, because we are not medical doctors.
We're not doctors, but they should go on our own CDC website and see what they're saying.
Okay.
And it doesn't prevent transmission or infection.
All right, so this is the end of the conversation for today. Okay. Please come back soon.
Absolutely.
Let's continue the conversation, because I got a whole list of topics to hit with you.
Would love to.
And looking forward to it.
Like I said, I'm here for the people, Sam. That's why I'm here.
Thank you for doing this, man. I appreciate it. And we'll be right back. Brian Culpa Photography was born in the rolling hills of Massachusetts, and now he can help you experience the stunning beauty of Nevada in a whole new way through the power of flight. Flying has always been a passion for Brian, and at Brian Culpa Photography, he can make your imagination soar. Brian has the creative mind and tools to tell your unique story. Experience the bird's eye view at brianculpaphotography.com.
Penny! Dad? Are you learning? This place is great. Huh? You gotta try this.
Wow! This stuff is great! People are gonna love it!
Yes. Yes, they will.
As you know, Reno is booming. Toll's development company is helping it grow with insightful design and development, building community with every project, adding beauty, adding excitement, emphasizing our shared humanity. Reno is becoming bigger. Toll's development is helping it become better, more livable, more enjoyable. To learn more, go to tollsdevelopment.com. tollsdevelopment.com.
Take a look at Pro Group Management and see how your workers' comp requirements can be met head-on. By taking a proactive approach, Pro Group can assure that your company is meeting or exceeding state and federal standards. As you move forward in your industry, Pro Group moves with you, simplifying regulatory tasks, clearing the way so you can get the job done and look to your future success. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
Don't forget, another way of watching Nevada Newsmakers is to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Nevada Newsmakers on YouTube. We'll see you on the next broadcast.